Throwaway because my regular account has some personal info. Also, fake names are used. I, a 21-year-old female, met William, 22, in a college class last semester. He's an overall great guy, and he's very respectful and kind. He also has a great sense of humor, and we have lots of similar interests. We've been friends since then, and we've started dating this July. He's the first person I've ever dated in my life. Last September, he met my family when I visited home for my brother's birthday. My brother Asher, 19, has been deaf since birth, so my whole family communicates with him either through sign language, Asher's lip reading, but we still just sign as reflex, or through text. During our small celebration at home, it was clear that my parents liked William. He was very charming, funny, and respectful. He even tried to connect with Asher by typing some of his jokes for Asher to read, although my brother could lip read as well. Whenever William would tell a story, either I or my parents would sign for Asher. My parents said that they're happy that I found a sweet and caring guy in William. Of course, I'm glad to hear this. Before we went back, William and Asher had a quick Call of Duty gaming session. For someone with Asher's condition, he is a really talkative guy. Lol, he's very expressive and likes to communicate a lot, especially when gaming. Of course, he couldn't outright trash talk, but he does the closest thing with his hands. So, there we were at Asher's room, with William and Asher playing while I was translating for them. I was laughing way too hard because Asher was trying his best to trash talk William, like saying he's weak and trying to say all these expletives, but I'm trying my best to tone it down for William. Meanwhile, I'm also translating William's instructions and strategies for Asher. Also, because this was the first time William met my family, he was saying all these praises to Asher like, "Good job," or "We can do it better next time," although I know that deep inside, he also wants to trash talk my brother. The two of them got along pretty well, and they've been having some online gaming sessions since then. 2 weeks ago, William visited home along with me again for my mom's birthday. There, he surprised everyone, including me, by communicating with Asher through American Sign Language. William was still at the alphabet, some basic words, and some rehearsed phrases, but we were all delighted that he even made the effort. Asher's face lit up, and I've never seen him happier, having a new long-term friend with low communication barriers. Apparently, William had been watching some YouTube tutorials and got a free subscription to Skillshare to learn American Sign Language. The two of them had a gaming session again, and this time, William and Asher could communicate more directly. Of course, it was still kinda slow, and I still had to do some translating. Imagine trying to baby talk to a grown man or talking to a caveman with choppy sentences, lol. But I could tell Asher was having a great time. They also got more comfortable with each other, with more explicit trash talking, which I didn't tone down this time. William had been religiously learning American Sign Language since then, and he's making a lot of progress. I was so happy with this, so I told my close friend group from high school. However, most of my friends, especially my closest guy friend, told me that what William was doing was a red flag, because it could be a form of obsession and emotional manipulation. He also said it was creepy because William's becoming too attached to my family when we've only been dating about 5 months. He also said that William might only be doing it so he could get laid or something. I know there's some validity to what my friend said, but I'm not really convinced. William has been a wonderful and sincere guy the entire time, and I know it's naive to say this because he's my first ever relationship, but I can see this becoming long-term. Yes, we haven't hooked up yet because I told him I wasn't ready yet, and he never pressured me to do it. However, is his behavior something I should really be concerned about? Again, I don't have any experience with dating and relationships, so I don't know if this is something that's truly concerning. My friends are pushing for me to break up with William, but I'm not sure. How do I proceed with this? Edit. Wait, whoa. I took a break to work on a paper, and there are now almost 1,000 comments. I'll try to process everything, but thank you for your kind words, Reddit. Yes, William is a wonderful guy and has so far given me no reasons to doubt his sincerity. It's only my friends who planted the seeds in my mind, since they've all had experiences with dating and relationships, so the pressure kinda got to me. Thank you for all your insights. I went to class and did a lot of schoolwork. Came back to this post with over 4,000 comments. I didn't expect this. I'll make sure to read and process everything, but so far, I'd like to thank everyone who weighed in on this. A lot of your insights have been truly eye-opening, and it really looks like I've got a lot of reflection to do with my relationships and connections. Again, thank you so much. Some relevant comments. Somebody said, "Why are your friends so cynical? Who hurt them?" This is a really sweet gesture. He's literally learning another language so he can communicate with your brother. That's really kind. How do your friends talk and view your brother? I'm kind of getting the sense that they might be seeing him as not his own person, just because he has a disability, and that's why they're so dead set on this idea that your boyfriend is only learning American Sign Language to get laid. Original poster replied, "They don't really interact with my brother that much. Whenever they see him, it's mostly just a smile and polite wave, then we do our own thing." Another said, "Damn, you need better friends. Your friends are the ones who are creepy, reading so much dark intent into what is actually a very kind, thoughtful, and respectful gesture on your boyfriend's part. How do you proceed? Dump the loser friends." Original poster replied, "That's what I'm kind of wary about. I've known them for years. My family also knows them. But I've only known William for a few months. I also don't know much about relationships, but my friends have had some experience already. That's why I'm so torn about this. Maybe they're seeing something I'm not." But I think the consensus here on Reddit seems to be very supportive of William's efforts, and I feel the same way. Somebody said, "Does William have any friends? Join their circle and ditch these paranoid weirdos. Seriously, life is too short." Original poster replied, "Yeah, I've hung out with William's friends, and they're all really nice. They're into tabletop games, and I've joined their Dungeons & Dragons session thrice, though I've still got some catching up to do with all the lore. One of his friends even recommended a good salon, and we've been mani-pedi sisters ever since. They're really nice, and they welcomed me into their circle with open arms. I really lucked out." Somebody said, "It's one of two things. Best case scenario, your friends are toxic idiots. Worst case scenario, your friends are not your friends." Edit to add, it never occurred to any of you that he genuinely felt a friendship connection with your brother and enjoys his company outside of your relationship with him? Smells of ableism. Original poster replied, "Honestly, your last statement is something I already felt at the start. When we left, Asher messaged me if it's okay to add William on social media so they could communicate. William was happy to do so, and he's even the one setting the online gaming sessions with my brother, but he checks with me first. They have a great friendship." Update. Sorry, this is going to be a long one. First off, I wanted to thank everyone who gave their insights in my original post. As I said, I'm very new to relationships, so reading insights other than my inner circles was very eye-opening. To begin, many Redditors said that my high school friends are conniving, untrustworthy, and ableist people who never bothered learning American Sign Language despite knowing me for a long time. I take accountability for this. I'm not saying they're blameless, but it's not entirely their fault. For some context, our family moved to our area when I was in senior year of high school due to my dad's job. The friend group, 2 guys and 2 girls before I joined, was already tight when I came in. They then took me in after we got grouped together for a school project, and they've been with me since. We've been friends for about 4 years now. They're not exactly saints, but they helped me survive my senior year in one piece. They are fun to hang out with, and they were the support I needed when I was struggling. Also, during that time, my brother was having an especially hard time adjusting because of his disability, so my friends never really saw Asher a lot. To be clear, I was never ashamed of Asher. It's just that whenever my friends came over, he either locked himself in his room or was in a different area with his tutor and never really interacted with us. Whenever he does come out, he's really shy and awkward, so my friends mostly just get glimpses of him. By the time Asher became more comfortable in our area and found his own circle, my friends and I had already graduated from high school and don't really hang out regularly anymore. They're friendly and polite with Asher. But then again, They never interacted as much to the point of them actually needing to learn American Sign Language for him. Now, for the update. Last week, my friend group had our year-ender party, and I decided to bring William along to meet the rest of my friends. My other friend in the group also brought his girlfriend, so this wasn't really weird. Others have done so in the past as well. I've commented in the previous post that William had only met my closest guy friend. I'll call him Mike, 21. So I wanted the rest of them to form their own opinions of William after they've met him. Initially, there was some tension and awkwardness from my friend group toward William. They were a bit cold, and they were throwing some harsh remarks toward him. Eventually, though, they all warmed up to him, and they were actually pleasantly surprised by his personality. We all got along well, and we all even had fun in our games. However, I could tell that there was still awkward tension coming from Mike toward William and the rest of our group. He was throwing meaner jokes more than usual, and he's kind of isolating himself from the activities. The day after the party, I had lunch with my closest girlfriend, Sophie, 21, to clear the air, because I could tell that they could also sense something was off. A lot of Redditors speculated that Mike had a crush on me and was jealous of my relationship with William. Turns out, you're all 1000% correct, but it's a lot more complicated than that. Apparently, Mike has had a crush on me since our senior year of high school. However, he's known in our school as a notorious ladies' man and had a new girl with him almost every month. This got exponentially worse during college. He had different hookups almost every night, and he even had a pregnancy scare with a girl last year. I knew about all of this because he bragged about sleeping around every time we met up. What I didn't know was that the entire time, Mike has been making up fake stories about me and him. Sophie told me that apparently Mike and I had a pact that if we were still both single when we're 30, we'd marry each other. Also, he told our friend group that we hooked up after graduation and that he took my virginity then. So he's my special person, whatever that means. He also told them that we'd been secretly hooking up consistently throughout college. For context, Mike and I go to different universities that are just about 30 minutes apart. Lastly, Mike told them that I said I'm in love with him. He told our friends not to tell me anything, so I don't get embarrassed or upset, since I have this image of being somewhat of a prude. Mike also told our friend group that when he met William, he thought that William is a total jerk who has been manipulating me and taking advantage of my innocence and naivete. He said that William had been forcing himself into my family and is driving a wedge between me and my friends. Mike also said that after he had lunch with me and William, he tried to convince me to stay away from William because he's not a good influence on me, but William had effectively brainwashed me. This explains why my friend group was already so antagonistic toward William when I told them about him. For the record, none of what Mike said was true. There was no pact, we never hooked up, and I have never been in love with him. After that, Sophie and I asked the rest of our friend group, except Mike, to jump on a FaceTime call with us. They all shared different versions of what Mike told them. There were a lot more, but I disputed everything. We were all collectively shocked about everything that we learned that day. They apologized for their behavior toward me and William, and I told them I understood given all the lies fed to them by Mike. Then, everyone agreed to kick Mike off the friend group. Sophie suggested that maybe we could have an intervention for Mike first, but I just said that I didn't want anything to do with him anymore. The rest of the group agreed, so we're essentially cutting him off. Sophie said she would still talk to him just to inform him of everything that happened, but I really just wanted to distance myself from him. Now, it's been a week of being Mike-free. Sophie said that when she and our other guy friend talked to Mike, he became extremely defensive, confrontational, and aggressive. He wasn't physically violent, but he called them names, attacked their characters, and made such awful statements about everyone in our friend group that I won't include here anymore. It looks like cutting him off completely was the right call. Now for some more uplifting updates. After reading everyone's comments in my previous post, there were a lot. I reflected on my relationship with William and my friends. I then talked to my parents for advice, since they have the best relationship I know of. They told me that from what they saw of William when he visited our home and how I spoke of him, it seems like he is a legitimately nice person with pure intentions. It also helps that William and I have been friends for months before we started dating. So I already knew his character, even when there was less pretense of him trying to impress me. He's already impressive on his own, though, lol. I then told William about everything that happened and apologized, fully expecting him to be mad at me for doubting him and his intentions. Instead, he said he understood, because of course, it was just natural for me to trust my friends and expect them to have my best interests. He then asked me if there was any point in our relationship when I felt uncomfortable or uneasy around him, and I categorically said no. I told him that he's my safe space, and he has nothing to worry about. He then reassured me that his intentions with me are genuine, and he even said that he sees a future with me, which I reciprocated. Also, William and Asher's friendship is still going strong. Asher has participated in one of William's Dungeons & Dragons sessions with his friends, and William and I both acted as the translators. We were delighted to see that most of William's friends already know the American Sign Language alphabet. Apparently, they had even included it in the lore of their Dungeons & Dragons campaign. Also, Asher had been asking William for some tips for working out and getting fit lately, since they have the same body type, but William is more toned. One of his brothers is a fitness instructor. Also, I met William's family for the first time for their annual get-together. It was super fun. There were games and contests. Also, I wasn't prepared for it, but apparently, since their mom is a theater performer and their dad is a music producer, it was their family tradition to have a talent showcase. They gave me a pass this time, but they told me I should prepare something impressive for next year. Lol. William and his brothers performed Bye 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 by NSYNC in full Deadpool, Wolverine, and Captain America costumes, while his sisters and their husbands did Defying Gravity from Wicked. Their parents did a medley from The Sound of Music. It was a total blast. I felt their family's warm welcome, and they really treated me as one of their own. I could see where William got his good values and looks from, though I think I need to start taking voice and dance lessons to keep up with them, lol. So that's it for this update. My relationship with William is stronger than ever, and I finally know who my true friends are. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for your time. Happy New Year to us all. Okay, let's see some relevant comments below. Original poster. Added this as a reply to a deleted comment. Not gonna lie, I became more and more furious with every lie that Sophie and my other friends told me Mike had said about me. It felt like I was in an episode of Black Mirror, or some psychological thriller or something. Because all this time, my friend group apparently had this different image of me based on lies. I've also told my parents about Mike. They knew him pretty well too, and they said they knew from the start that he was up to no good. I was just too bratty to listen to them when they warned me back then. Right now, I'm just glad this is all behind me. I'm also really grateful that I found a wonderful man in William who had been extremely loving and understanding throughout all this. Somebody said, by the way, Mike probably lied about others too. Any stories you've ever heard are likely lies, and you should think back if there are any other women who might have been impacted by his falsehoods. I've definitely had guys lie about hooking up. It's more common than I realized. Original poster replied, my friend group and I compared notes, and we've uncovered a lot more lies that Mike told about himself and each of us. He's apparently caused a lot of petty drama throughout the years. We're still not done processing everything because we were all just shocked and dumbfounded, and it made us reevaluate everything. Another commenter, don't let your friends off the hook. They chose to believe Mike without bothering to confirm anything with you. Original poster replied, yeah, during my lunch with Sophie, where we had a FaceTime call with our other friends, I confronted them as well on why no one bothered confirming anything to me. They apologized for everything, but then I also understood why it was so easy for everyone to believe Mike's lies. Our group dynamic has always been that I am closest to Mike. We live just 10 minutes away from each other, then Sophie, then the rest of the group. However, The four of them have been friends with each other for like 5 years before I came in. Before Mike became a ladies' man in high school, he was always the smart kid, who's always either the first or second in class. Despite his personality, he was still a very credible person in their eyes. Add to that the number of years they've known each other, and that's why they blindly trusted him about everything he said about me.